Hey folks, SMK Gaming here. We finally got the beta announcement yesterday. That's not going to be the topic of discussion here. It's going to be what happened prior to that. Up until that point, the communication from DICE had been, very sketchy, and I want to understand why. In the months leading up to the beta announcement we got yesterday, all we got was a delay announcement and feelings that things were being delayed internally but not being communicated to us. There were big signs that the team were running into development issues. There was no presence of EA or DICE at Gamescom. There's been an extreme lack of up-to-date gameplay footage, and then there's also the beta announcement. Where was it? It seemed to be that it was being delayed and delayed again. So today I want to dig a little bit deeper into this to figure out why is this happening? Why the silence from DICE and EA? Why not give the community a bit of a heads up on needing more development time? Communication about the game up until mid-August was great. Why the change? Why return to the periods of silence we got with Battlefield 5? These questions go hand in hand with another issue I want to talk about also. How much do the dev team know about what is going on in the background with the company and when decisions such as a delay are made? Maybe they are also in the dark and don't know what to tell us until they know themselves, so we get these periods of silence. To help me give some insight on this, I have chatted with an ex-DICE developer about his thoughts on the delay and how he feels the process of the delay comes about. So, let's get started. Why the silence over the last month to 6 weeks, when hype for the game should have been getting ramped up with more information on the game and gameplay footage? My best guess is it is related to EA being a public traded company. During recent investor calls, the release of Battlefield 2042 was going to be a big part of the fourth quarter for EA. The release date was known and everything seemed on track. But for them to then come out and say, we're having issues with the game, it may get delayed, would not be liked by investors at all. It would make them feel pretty uneasy, especially after publicly saying the game was ahead of schedule. DICE were likely spending a lot of time trying to work through the issues and hope they could get it fixed on time. In that time, they can't really say we are still on schedule and then announce a delay a few weeks later, as they would feel the wrath of the community as well as the investors. This is very likely why it took so long to give us a better date. They've probably taken the view that it's better to be silent than announce a date and then having to delay it. Take a look at this here graphic here on the risks and benefits associated with speaking out and staying silent. Looking at the risks of speaking out look far worse to me than the risks of staying silent. And the benefits of speaking out, again, they don't seem as beneficial as what they do with staying silent. Especially if you speak out and the information you do give ends up being false. The perfect example of this is when they posted that meme on the official Battlefield Twitter account saying that the beta was still coming in September. Look at the fallout from that. Many within the community were extremely annoyed at that post because it also seemed like they were poking fun at community members who were asking when the beta was coming. Additionally, it's not looking very likely now, which makes that post look quite silly now. Whenever that post is made, they must have been confident enough that the beta was definitely going to be coming in September. Something has changed. They weren't anticipating a delay coming to the game or that they had to make a decision to delay the game. And this leads me on to my next point. Whether or not these decisions made by the corporate folks are a result of discussions with the developers. Are the developers consulted about such a decision, or are they kept out of the loop and in the dark to prevent leaks which might make investors nervous? To get better clarification on this, I talked with an ex-DICE developer that went through a similar thing with Battlefield 5 at DICE. His response to my question was, my guess is this is coming from the devs, not management. Devs know where it is heading months before this, and then producers, leads and management try to turn every possible stone to find a way forward before reality hits. There's no way to unite the holy SW triplet of quality versus feature set versus time. You can have two, but never three. So it is his belief that the ultimate decision is left with the developers. The decision is based on their feedback, which is a good thing of course. I then queried why was the game said to be ahead of schedule, but is now behind schedule. His response was, there's unfortunately large amounts of inertia when dev feedback starts to build up and percolate upwards through layers of layers. So basically, as everyone was working from home, each developer was likely giving their own updates on their current progress. When all those updates from each person were finally collected and it filtered its way up through the layers of management to the top, Where the game's progress was then, and where it was now, could be completely different. When DICE said the game was ahead of schedule back in June, that update could have been from months earlier because it took so long for that feedback to filter up through, as obviously we're working through a pandemic. So to conclude, a large reason why DICE are probably silent at the minute is due to EA and the restrictions that they have in place. Any social media posts probably have to be authorised by them, because what they don't want is anything that can be deemed as subjective, something that doesn't give assurances. Anything like that could make potential investors and shareholders very nervous indeed, and it could affect the EA stock. I showed you a graphic earlier on regarding EA stock and how it declined on the announcement. Well, it was actually already on its way down before the announcement was made, and that was based on a rumour. We'd all love a community manager or a DICE developer to come out and say, we're maybe a little bit behind in the game now, might be delayed, we don't know yet, we'll be in contact again soon. Imagine a potential investor or shareholder sees that, so this is why they don't do it. So now knowing this, does it make this poor communication, all this silence, the correct thing to do? No, I don't believe so. I still think there's ways that they could be creating hype for the game, making us interested and giving us interesting things without having to put any uncertainty over the game's future. This will all be coming in a video over the next couple of days. I hope all this has helped your understanding a bit. It certainly has helped with me. Of course, it is still frustrating, but imagine how it must feel for the developers also. Let's hope the extra month gives them the time they need. Thanks for watching folks, hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video, like it up, take care out there, and I'll see you again in the next one.